Hello and welcome to this event. This is an event that we do for senior managers and executives of companies who are willing to or trying to transform or adapt to digital product organization. And this event is more of a heads up with the idea to generate awareness of what are the problems that we are encountering still nowadays after so many years of agile transformations and digital transformations, and how we think modern product organizations should be organizing and taking decisions and delivering products to market. In this session, we want to be focusing on what we think are the three pillars of modern technology product organizations. Those pillars that we actually work with when we help our clients to evolve towards a digital product organization. My name is Gerard Chiva, and I am the managing director and co-founder of Actia Solutions. What I do is I help companies build better products and executives to build leading product organizations. Actia Solutions is a management consulting firm. We work with digital businesses to enable growth and market leadership with our consulting, coaching, and training programs in digital product management, innovation, and lean organization. And we also accompany leadership teams in the process of becoming a modern digital product organization. So let's get started. Let's talk about modern product organizations. Let's talk about the organization of the 21st century, the digital organization. And we're going to see the three key responsibilities that all product leaders must develop in this type of organizations. Some time ago, or some months ago, I was watching this interview to Elon Musk, and he was saying something really interesting that actually connected really well with what we think and what we truly believe companies should be doing, and what we know is the problem. And this is what Elon Musk, I'm going to explain, I'm going to develop further now. What Elon Musk was saying is not nothing new. I mean, it's coming from the lean thinking from the 60s and 70s of last century. The principles and concepts are basically the same. So Elon was saying that too many MBAs run companies. And he was complaining about this MBAization of America and the rest of the world, actually. That isn't great, he was saying, especially when it comes to product innovation. Big corporate CEOs often get caught in the numbers and lose sight of their mission, which is to create awesome products and experiences according to Musk and according to me and according to the lean thinking. It always has been like that. And what we see in many companies is that they are so much focused in the numbers and in the stocks, in the shareholders, and they forget the most important thing, that companies exist to deliver value to someone and then capture that value back. That's the essence of a company, okay? So Elon continues saying that there should be more focus on the product or service itself and less time on board meetings and less time on financials. Is the old concept of lean thinking and lean manufacturing called Genki Genbutsu, which is going and seeing, go where the things are happening, and go to the shop floor, go to where the next product is being designed, understand the customer needs, understand the landscape, the competitive landscape. That's the most important thing, not the numbers. The numbers are a consequence of doing that properly. Elon also continues saying that a company has no value in itself. It only has value to the degree that is an effective allocator of resources to create business services that are of greater value than the costs of the inputs. Okay, that simple formula that looks like easy, it's not always what executive teams are looking at. There should be more focus on the product and the service itself, and less time on board meetings, as a summary. Okay, and now one wonders, how are we organizing for products? How are we making sure that teams focus on what really matters. How are we enabling continuous product discovery and innovation? If you think that by moving to Agile you have already done some sort of digital transformation, I am sorry to tell you that you haven't even gotten started. Especially if you are running something like SAFe, which is the kind of polar opposite, both philosophically and practically, and in any terms, of what we are going to describe here today. I was very pleased to see this reflection by Elon Musk because it fully coincides with my vision of the organizations, which is coming from Lean. Not infrequently, I have to remind people what an organization is and what really matters in an organization. Everyone in an organization must understand their role in the process of creating, delivering, and capturing value. And everybody else must help in that. Okay? There are a few teams responsible for those value streams who are responsible for creating, delivering, and capturing value. Everybody else is working to help those teams to do their job as best and as quickly as possible. If we forget that, then we have all these sort of politics and turf wars and misalignments and misunderstandings of what really matters, which is delivering value to the market as quickly, as fast as possible and capturing that value back. Okay? If we don't understand that, then things like this happen. Probably many of you could read this article, or you knew about this situation, let's say. So in this case, Volkswagen, after 5 years and 50 billion to beat Tesla, the first electric car, the ID.3, was a flop. According to the Wall Street Journal, what Volkswagen didn't consider is that electric vehicles have more to do with software than with hardware. And producing exquisitely designed gasoline cars doesn't automatically translate into software development expertise. Unlike Tesla, which is a software company that makes cars, Volkswagen is a traditional company trying to transform itself into a digital organization. Volkswagen thought that its extensive experience in the automotive industry and large investment were going to be enough. But digital transformation is not about automating and digitizing processes or incorporating software everywhere. The true digital transformation implies a paradigm shift regarding how we understand an organization. To become a digital product company, Volkswagen are now considering some important changes, like consolidating the various software teams under one single roof. They are taking most of their efforts internally out of the hands of more than 20 or so vendors, and they are embracing modern product development and management practices and techniques for the new version of their electric car, the ID.4, that hopefully is not a flop. Let's see. What are the problems that we see, in this case in Volkswagen and many other companies? It's kind of easy to see how many of these companies are falling behind or disappearing. They are very far from how products are developed in leading companies such as, Amazon, Google, or Intercom. What especially amazes me is that really is no secret how the best companies work and how financially successful they are, which begs the question, what's going on? In my experience, it's not that these companies don't want to transform, it's that transforming is difficult and they just don't know how, or even what it really means to transform. So many have fallen prey to the pompous agile transformations to stay exactly where they were, while competitors and insurgents are overtaking them. What they need is to move on to real product teams. There are 3 problems here, right? 3 problems that we see in many companies. First one is the absence of strategy. When we ask senior managers and executives of companies what is the strategy, many still answer with some sort of arbitrary growth goals or revenue goals. That's not strategy, that's just goal setting, okay? And there's an important difference, something that really makes a difference. It wouldn't be fair to say that most of these companies have a weak product strategy, because in reality, most literally have no strategy at all. They are just trying to please as many stakeholders as they can with the people, the time, and skills that they have. Also, most of these companies have heard that Google and others use something called OKRs technique to manage their work, and the CEO watched a video or read a book and thought it sounded easy. So they embrace the technique, overlaying it with their existing culture and processes. And each quarter there is a planning exercise that consumes a few weeks, and then it's largely ignored for the rest of the period. And we see that most people and in teams say that they get little or no value at all from this technique. In the best of the cases, OKRs are used to determine arbitrary objectives, and in the worst, they are just simply a way to identify new initiatives to be executed. What we do when someone asks about OKRs is that, okay, let me see what is your organizational structure. Are you organized on products? Are you organized on value streams? If that's not the case, we stop the OKR thing and then we start by organizing. First, identify value. Second, organizing value streams, and then implement pull. And on top of that, once you are organized in products, we put on top of that OKRs, which is a tool for strategy deployment and alignment and continuous improvement. But you cannot put OKRs on top of a dysfunctional organization. Okay, so the product leadership that we will see later involves, among other things, defining a product vision, a winning strategy, and determining the challenges and problems to solve in order to move towards the vision. And we hand over problems to solve to teams. We don't hand over to them a business case or a roadmap. We hand over problems to solve, strategic problems to solve. That's the difference. Additionally, product leadership involves coaching members of product teams and structuring and restructuring product teams based on what? Based on the strategy. The organizational structure needs to be adapting to the strategic changes. The strategy changes, the structure of the company changes. Okay? All these things are fluid and continuously evolving. A second big problem is that still technology is seen as a cost center, and that's a huge mistake. Technology is no longer a cost center, it's a profit center. I think we should really make that change. Really. I don't even know why do I have to explain this anymore in 21st century. Many companies still have the old IT mindset when it comes to technology. Technology is seen as a cost rather than a main business enabler that it is actually nowadays. The people who work on technology teams are literally there to serve the business, and the managers and technology leaders are there to facilitate the service to business. In some cases, technology is neglected in some sort of digital business unit or digital hub. Tech teams are disconnected from real customers. In fact, they are encouraged to think of their stakeholders as their customers, and that's wrong. What do we want? We want software and technology not to be a cost center, but a profit center. Take, for instance, a typical example. The overall cost of producing a premium car nowadays, around 40% of the investment is software. So why the hell should technology be a cost center? It's a profit center. It's the key component of all the products that we build nowadays, and services also. So change that mentality. And the third problem is the way we structure teams. We take this concept from Marty Kagan that uses the concept of teams of mercenaries. We sometimes call them feature factories or feature teams, because they just exist to do what they are asked to do, just a factory. You have to do this, you do this, and you go home, right? So what happens in this case is that teams are not capable of solving business problems and create an impact on customers, which is what we really want. And therefore, the teams cannot be held accountable for the results. So the product manager in these cases is more of a project manager, and designers and engineers are there just to design and code the roadmap functions. Motivation is low, and the sense of belonging is minimal, and innovation is rare. In a digital business today, continuous delivery of quality software is no longer a problem. It's more of a barrier to entry. Operational excellence, agility is no longer a competitive advantage. It was maybe 10, 15 years ago, but not anymore. Being agile is necessary, but not sufficient. So, what we measure, what we manage, and what we reward must change to support this continuous product improvement and innovation. So, instead of mercenary teams, we need missionary teams to whom we give a problem to solve as a result of our product strategy. So, because many companies continue to operate with mental and organizational models typical of the industrial age, this is what happens. The focus is on delivery of functionalities rather than on learning, on achieving business results, and on creating a customer impact. But there's always a but, right? It takes some prerequisites for it to work. And in our opinion and in our experience, the biggest challenge is not in the methodological side of things or in the skills of the teams, but in the rethinking of the organization. Just in case what I described sounds familiar to you, I would like to share some more truths, some more painful truths. First one is that you have very little chance of leading your market and much less of innovating to find new sources of growth. If your market is by chance in the crosshairs of Apple, Google, or Amazon, you are screwed. Your customers are going to be juicy targets for anyone who doesn't operate like you, for anyone who's organized thinking on value, on the customer, on the product, and who knows how to provide impressive products while generating business growth. You are wasting the talent and skills of the people you've hired, and the people you need to survive and grow are likely to leave, if they haven't already. So finally, if you think that by moving to Agile you have already made some kind of digital transformation, I'm sorry to tell you, you have not even get started. Business agility is not strategic. Being faster, more adaptable, and producing better and with higher quality is nothing more than a barrier to entry. It is necessary again, but not sufficient. The true transformation consists of organizing into autonomous product teams responsible for transforming product strategy into customer impact and business growth. That's the real transformation, okay? And we know that from 50 or 60 years ago, from Lean, okay? It's all about Lean. The essential principles are the same. Think products, think customer, think value. Let's see how we do that. The three pillars of technology product organizations. Product leaders must be able to inspire and deliver intent. Also, they need to be able to create the right organizational structure for rapid value creation and facilitate the adoption of modern product development and management principles and practices. So, what can you do as a product leader? These three things, right? Most important, above all, I would say, is to provide a strong product strategy and intent. In response to that strategic direction, you must design and develop an effective product organization that allows you to solve the correct problems and also build the competencies for the future. Okay, because in the end, strategy is, as Gary Hamel said, is competing for the future. Is thinking what is coming and developing those competencies now that they're going to be needed in a few years, right? And third, you need to empower teams and give them the right tools and coaching so they can lead their products and use the practices and tools of modern product management. Let's talk about product leadership first. So by product leadership, I include in this group managers and senior managers of product management, product design, and engineering. The key to succeed in transforming into a real product organization is having a strong head of product who inspires confidence and is trusted by the CEO and the other key executives. There is a big assumption here, which may not be true in your organization. And again, this is an assumption that is coming from Lean. We assume that product leaders are generally at the same peer level with the other key executives and stakeholders in the organization. This is true in modern digital organizations as it was true in 20th century lean organizations. The person leading a product division or product line is the second most important person in an organization after the CEO. Why? Because the company exists to deliver products. So, what is product leadership about? So, product leadership, as I was saying, is about these three things. I have placed direction on top because I think it is not properly recognized, because it is in practice where significant deficits are found, and because if it's poorly done, excellence in other two cannot compensate. Executives who master the disciplines of formulating and giving good direction can explain to people what they have to achieve and why. By mastering management, they can put people in a position in which they are able to act. And by leading them effectively, they can sustain people's willingness to carry on until the job is done. If we focus on direction, the main duty and responsibility of leadership involves setting this direction, right? Leaders develop strategic direction by considering the aims they have been given, the environment they are in, and the capabilities of the organization. They also further build the capabilities the organization needs to realize the strategy. They then have to actually give direction by communicating their intent in ways on which the organization can act. And here is where we may start thinking about things such as OKRs. Management. What about management? So management is about providing and controlling the means of following the direction. Managing means understanding objectives, solving problems so that they can be achieved, and creating processes so that the work of others can be organized efficiently. Good management means making the maximum use of resources. Essentially would mean staffing, coaching, and organizing. And inspiration. So it's about evangelism and motivation. In the end, leading is a human activity, right? That is moral and emotional, if you want. The work of a leader is to motivate and, if possible, inspire followers so that they are willing to go in the required direction and perform their own task better than they would have done had the leader not been there. Leaders have to balance their attention between defining and achieving the specific task of the group, building and maintaining the team as a team, and meeting the needs of and developing the individuals within it. So this is about product leadership, right? Direction, management, and inspiration. Let's talk about the first one only, the first concept, which is product strategy. Here I like very much the way that Richard Ramold explains strategy in his book, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy. I think it's a key book. In case you haven't read it, a strong recommendation. Buy it right now and start reading it. Because he explains really what strategy is not and what strategy is. And everything starts there. A good strategy is a consistent action backed by an argument. It's an effective mix of thought and action with a basic underlying structure, which Richard Ramold refers to as the kernel. The core of the strategy is composed by a challenge, a diagnostic, guiding policy, and a set of coherent actions. A diagnosis that defines or explains the nature of the challenge. A good diagnosis simplifies the complexity of reality by identifying certain aspects of the situation as critical. Those pivot points, those leverage points that may create a competitive advantage, for instance. Then we have a guiding policy to meet the challenge. This is not a list of features or a shopping list or a roadmap. This is a general approach chosen to address or overcome the obstacles identified in the diagnosis. And then there is a coherent set of actions designed to carry out the guiding policy. These are the steps that are coordinated with each other to work together to comply with the guiding policy. As an example, to a doctor, the challenge appears as a set of symptoms along with a history. The doctor then makes a clinical diagnosis, identifying a pathology. The therapeutic approach chosen is the physician's guidance policy, and the doctor's specific prescriptions for diet, therapy, and medication are the coherent set of actions that must be taken. In business, the challenge is generally dealing with change and competition. The first step towards an effective strategy is to diagnose the specific structure of the challenge, rather than simply naming arbitrary targets, which is what many companies do. The second step is to choose a general guiding policy to deal with the situation that relies on employing or creating some type of leverage or advantage. And the third step is to design a configuration of actions and resource allocations that implement the chosen guiding policy. OKRs can help to implement that coherent action and provide us with coordination, concentration, and focus. But look, OKRs and product roadmaps are at the end, not at the beginning. So we don't start by setting goals. We start by understanding the situation, identifying challenges towards our vision, and making a diagnostic and defining a guiding policy. And from there, we define our goals. Product strategy, if we look at this strategy stack, is all about determining which problems product teams should solve. Product strategy is how you are planning to get closer to your product vision. It requires understanding your current situation, identifying the biggest challenges ahead, and designing a guiding policy and a coherent set of actions. The key concept here is that in modern product organizations, product teams are given problems to solve, not features to develop. They are responsible for diagnosing the situation, identifying the biggest hurdles, and designing the right approach to overcome them. Strategy doesn't cover the details. Those are the tactics we will use to achieve the goal. Strategy is the overall approach and the rationale for this approach. While there are many forms of strategy, what we care about here is product strategy, right? Which in short means how we make the product vision a reality while meeting the needs of the business as we go. In terms of empowered product teams, product strategy helps us decide what problems to solve, and product discovery helps us figure out the tactics that can actually solve the problem. And product delivery builds that solution so we can bring it to the market. So we have product strategy, product discovery, and product delivery, all connected. Let's talk about the second pillar of product organizations, which is product teams. Once the strategic context is clear, the next most important thing we have to do as product leaders is to design the right team structure to achieve the strategic objective. The organizational structure must be flexible and adaptable to strategic changes, so it's not fixed. It changes as the strategy changes. A term that has become famous lately is the concept of team topologies, which, again, I'm sorry to tell you that it's nothing new. I mean, this is the same concept of lean value streams adapted to the 21st century, especially to software teams, right? The concept of team topology refers to how we divide the work between different product teams to allow them to fulfill their mission, to allow them to deliver value fast to the market, to allow them to improve the flow of value. This includes the structure and scope of the teams and their relationship to each other. This is a picture I made actually, I think 2 or 3 years ago when I was explaining the concept of value stream in a lean organization. And as you can see, there's nothing different from the underlying concept of team topology. The thing here is that most of today's technology products are kind of big and complicated. Although there are exceptions, it is rare for a single product team to develop a complete product. Most products require many teams to work together. This means that each product organization must address the question of how to structure its product teams to better divide the work. The team topology of a product organization answers questions such as how many product teams should our organization have? What is the scope of responsibility of each team? What are the skills required for each team? And what are the dependencies between these teams? As a product leader, establishing an effective team topology is your second most important responsibility after setting direction. The outcome that you're seeking when creating the team topology is that you must provide autonomy for the teams. We must give teams real ownership of the problem space for which they will be responsible and provide autonomy in their ability to deliver solutions to the problem they are asked to solve. Each topology creates its own set of dependencies between product teams. There is no, I would say, perfect team topology. There is the team topology that best fulfills the strategy. And that's where the product leaders need to consider the trade-off. Modern product teams stand out for 3 key characteristics: ownership, autonomy, and alignment. Ownership sets the scope of each team's full responsibilities around functionality, experience, quality, performance, and technical depth. teams are expected to make the necessary decisions to better address the work that fits their scope of ownership. Autonomy means that when we give teams problems to solve, they have enough control to solve the problem in whatever way they see fit. A topology that creates too many dependencies can make this difficult. We really hope that teams will use product discovery tools to explore different options and approaches and validate a solution before implementing it. Each team topology will require some kind of dependencies between teams, okay? There is no perfect one. The best topology will be the one that minimizes dependencies. And alignment. Alignment is a difficult aspect of the topology because there are many things to consider. First one is obviously strategic alignment, okay? That implies that all teams know what objectives they are working towards and do not get in the way of each other. There is also alignment with the architecture, okay? It is necessary to look for an alignment of teams with the architecture to reduce dependencies and complexity. And we can also talk about alignment with other areas of the organization, such as other business units, different go-to-market strategies, different types of clients or market segments. Essentially, if we look at digital teams, there are 4 main types of teams. Again, I will repeat it many times. This is nothing new if we look at all the lean experience and literature and body of knowledge. First of all, we have what is usually known as stream-aligned teams or value streams, or customer-facing teams or experience teams. Stream is the continuous flow of work aligned to a business domain or organizational capability. Continuous flow requires clarity of purpose and responsibility so that multiple teams can coexist, each with their own flow of work. A stream-aligned team is a team aligned to a single valuable stream of work. This might be a single product or service, a single set of features, a single user journey, or a single user persona. The team is empowered to build and deliver customer value as quickly, safely, and independently as possible, without requiring handoffs to other teams to perform parts of the work. The stream-aligned team or value stream is the primary team type in an organization, and the purpose of the other fundamental team topologies is to reduce the burden on the value streams. We have for this the enabling teams, which mission is to help stream-aligned teams to acquire missing capabilities, taking off the effort of research and trials and setting up successful practices. Then we have platform teams, which purpose is to reduce the cognitive load of stream-aligned teams by offloading lower-level detailed knowledge, for example, provisioning, monitoring, or deployment, providing easy-to-consume services around them. And then we have the complicated subsystem teams or component teams, whose mission is to build and maintain a part of the system that depends heavily on deep and specific knowledge. The goal of this team is to reduce the cognitive load of the stream-aligned teams working on systems that include or use this complicated system. Different value streams can coexist in an organization. Specific customer streams, business area streams, geography streams, product streams, user persona streams, or even compliance streams. A stream can even take the form of a micro enterprise within a large firm with an independent focus and purpose. It could be a typical spin-off, a mini startup that is used to basically innovating and generating new ideas and validating them. Value streams are funded in a long-term sustainable manner as part of a portfolio of work, not as a project. Okay? In modern software organizations, we expect most teams to be value streams. The flow of work is clear, and each stream has a steady, expectable flow of work for the team to prioritize. This stands in contrast to traditional work allocation, whereby either a large request by a single customer or a set of smaller requests by multiple customers get translated into a project. Once the project is approved, several teams will be involved and will be required to fit the work into their existing backlog. As we described earlier, experienced teams are responsible for how the product value is perceived by the actual users of our customers. A key point to consider when designing the organization is that experienced teams are most empowered when they are given as much end-to-end responsibility as possible, as if they were mini companies, mini enterprises. This is more likely to happen when the scope of ownership for each team follows natural patterns of the business, such as sales channel, market segment, or user type. More often than not, this means creating a topology that is aligned by customer. Some examples could be by user type of persona, by market segment, by customer journey, by sales channel, by business KPI, or by geography. This alignment means that experienced teams have areas of ownership that match the outcomes that the business needs. There is little required translation between business outcomes and product work, and the teams can be given the autonomy to solve business problems directly. This is really important because the causality between changes in products and business results is direct. The third aspect of modern product leadership is staffing and coaching. This means hiring the right people, developing them, and providing them with the right environment, tools, and skills. We expect modern product teams to take important decisions and drive growth, so they need the right tools, practices, and methods. One key aspect of modern product management is to enable continuous product discovery. We must give teams a problem to solve or a business goal to achieve and allow them to discover the best solution and validate it before building. If we don't do that, things like this may happen. Who would think it was a good idea for a brand of toothpaste to make frozen lasagna? Who knows? We may lose a lot of money and also damage the brand by doing things like this, right? And we still see that this problem continues to occur to a greater extent in the development of digital products and services, because many companies continue to operate with a mental and organizational model of the industrial age. The focus is on delivery of functionalities rather than on learning, on business results, and on customer impact. But it takes, as I was saying, some prerequisites for it to work, right? In my opinion, the biggest challenge is not, as I was saying, the methodology and the skills, but in the rethinking of the organization. So stakeholders have to accept that they no longer dictate solutions to teams. We have to show incredible confidence in the product teams. We must develop a culture of continuous experimentation, and we must be able to learn from mistakes. And multidisciplinary teams should be the norm rather than the exception. These value stream teams or stream-aligned teams. Also, this product discovery mindset is an invaluable asset to the company. It allows you to create products that have been shown to have a positive impact on business development. It is critical that this product discovery is an ongoing process and not just used early in the product life cycle. This product discovery will allow you to react quickly and flexibly to market changes, different customer behaviors, and strategic changes. Product discovery allows you to offer good products to your customers better, faster, and more profitably. In general, companies are quite good at building things. The problem now is deciding what to build. Product discovery helps us decide what to build and what not to build, which is also very important. We don't want to generate waste. As a general rule, anything that is built, from a product feature to a big roadmap initiative or a new product, needs a process of exploration and validation to decide whether to build, kill, or pivot. In the process of creating a product, companies should redistribute the effort of discovery and delivery and spend more time and better time on the discovery part and reduce the burden on the delivery part. So to finish, I bring you some new glasses with which to observe the world. The learning mindset glasses. Successful innovators and modern product companies operate from a different set of beliefs. They know that they can't take anything for granted, that great products are built collaboratively, and that some structure, process, and strategic alignment is required to drive growth. When we start to see the world with these glasses, the way we organize and behave will be very different, and we will start to see waste and obsolescence everywhere. Reviewing our beliefs will be the basis of the organization of the 21st century. The needs of the business are not the needs of the market. Okay, so look at the market. We're looking at market pull, not business push. We must understand and assume that most of our initiatives will fail miserably. We must also realize that customers don't know what they want. Okay, customers are expert in problems, but they are not expert in solutions. That is the responsibility of the producers. We also must understand that we don't know what to build. We discover what to build and we validate it. We must really, at this point in time, lower our expectations. Okay, stakeholders and executives cannot predict the future. Nobody can. We have tools like Worldly Maps, Jobs to be Done, or strategy canvas from Blue Ocean Strategy that allow us to see the way forward and design a strategy, but we cannot predict the future. Which leads us to the sixth point, which is we need a clear strategic direction to align product development and product discovery efforts. Okay, we don't want to discover random stuff. We don't want to develop random stuff. We need to discover and develop something that it will have an impact on the strategy. And we also must understand that product discovery is unpredictable by nature. There are some processes that we must establish, some basic structures, but there is a lot of back and forth. There is a lot of new learnings, pivots, there is cancellation of efforts, there is new investment required. So we need to be flexible from the budgeting process to the discovery process to the delivery process. And this is it. Thank you very much. Well, we actually ran out of time, but we can leave maybe 5 to 10 minutes for questions. Okay. I'm going to take a look at the chat. If there are any questions, you can put it there. Okay.